This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. With me, as always, his name is Mike Fratelloni. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
I'm doing okay. Doing okay. Here's the thing, and I know it's been talked to death basically everywhere and anywhere, but I do feel the need that we have to cover the Jimmy Kimmel subject.
Oh, yeah. That's a big deal.
I want to talk about it in a number of different ways, but chief among them is the reaction by those that are very, very upset by ABC's decision to basically suspend/dismiss Jimmy Kimmel for what he basically said about Charlie Kirk and who the shooter originated with and whatnot. Sure. And I don't think it's that terribly complicated, and I don't know if you have the same reaction that I did. But so here, I'll just read the story for those that maybe are not familiar.
If you're not in the loop,
right.
Jimmy Kimmel was fired.
The decision to yank Jimmy Kimmel's show off the air wasn't as rash as one might think. Anyway, here's why I have a problem with the reaction. I guess I'll just cut to the chase. So Joe said earlier today that he's got a problem with the FCC in some way involving themselves in this decision. And I totally get that. That's not their job. That shouldn't be something that the president of the United States should be worrying about. But to me, it's just as simple as this. ABC made a business decision. Sure. Point blank. When you work in the world of broadcasting, podcasting, when you work for a company, whether it's, ABC, NBC, Hubbard Broadcasting, you sign a contract. Yes. And in that contract, the terms of agreements that you sign on to publicly broadcast your information is you have to abide by the terms and the agreements of that particular agreement between you and your employer. And ABC has every right to get rid of this guy. And they have every right to decide who they're going to put in their place. We saw this just a couple of weeks ago, if not a couple of months ago, with Stephen Colbert of CBS. They're not replacing his show. Yep. That show is just going away. Yep. And it's, to me, again, it's not that complicated. No one watches late night TV anymore. We are an on-demand society. The numbers that he was putting, and because I looked these up yesterday, his numbers were a fraction of what they were years ago.
He's lost like 70% of his desired audience.
And his salary continues to go up. So it's just math at that point.
Okay, I get that. But if you're on the right and you feel that left-wing entertainers are losing their job because no one's following them anymore because they don't love that left-wing side, right? If you believe that's happening, why are you dunking? Shut up and let it happen. Because the moment Brendan Carr from the FCC says, Jimmy Kimmel, you're next, the agency might take action against you, ABC. The moment you say that, dunking on him, then someone says, oh, they put pressure on the FCC, onto ABC, and ABC had to do something because they're afraid of pissing off Donald Trump. Right. Do I believe that that's true? Yes, 100%. Do I believe that Jimmy Kimmel and his ilk are just total hypocrites because when other people get kicked off the air on the other side, they rip on them and make fun of them?
So that's where I was going to go with this, Mike, because I found this list overnight last night, and I thought, well, how interesting is this? And we touched on some of it, but not all of it. Roseanne Barr was fired by ABC Disney, and her hit show Roseanne canceled overnight in 2018 after she submitted a tweet. Hundreds of cast and crew lost their jobs. However, I will add this caveat: the show did come back without her involved. Sure. And I think though some of the crew did not retain their employment. Gina Carano fired from The Mandalorian in 2021 for social media posts that didn't fit the left's politics, dropped by her agency as well. Megyn Kelly fired by NBC in 2018. Her morning show canceled after comments about Halloween costumes. Megyn Kelly, however, is doing just fine in her resurgence.
Same as with Carano.
Yes. And Bill Maher. We talked about Bill Maher. He lost his job in ABC. And what he said after 9/11 was horrifically bad. But you know what? Honestly, some might even say that was probably the best thing that happened to Bill Maher. Sure. Because now he's gone on to bigger success with his show currently. Dave Chappelle Netflix employees staged a walkout and demanded his comedy special to be pulled for transphobia. The left tried hard to cancel him. Joe Rogan, the left pressured Spotify to drop him, running coordinated campaigns and advertiser boycotts over COVID discussions. Yep. Tucker Carlson, taken off Fox News in 2023. Liberal activists bragged about advertiser pressure campaigns that helped force him out, costing thousands of downstream jobs. Tucker, again, went out and did his own thing. He's doing okay.
He's doing okay.
Parler, Apple, Google, and Amazon colluded in 2021 to wipe the entire platform off the internet. Tens of thousands of small creators and businesses lost income basically overnight. J.K. Rowling, blacklisted from events, attacked by activists, and pressured out of projects for speaking her mind about how ridiculous it is that boys are playing girl sports.
Sure.
Mike Lindell, don't want to go down that road, but there's another guy.
Maybe Mike deserves the one.
Mike was the one guy, and I said this at the time. I said, my God, he's committing career suicide by what he's doing. Alex Jones. I mean, the patterns
Alex Jones, good for him.
Same thing, right? But the patterns are so clear of what's happening right now. And the thing is, someone sent this to me after we had said what we said about, and I'll shut the mics off so you can hear this. But this is Jimmy Kimmel, by the way. Back in, I think if it was mid to late 2020 when he uttered this on his show. I'm just going to play this, and then you're going to understand why I have zero sympathy for Jimmy Kimmel. Okay?
Hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
So again,
sure.
When you're gonna decide to take a path, and it was clear that he and Colbert chose a path on their shows, you can't sit here then and be shocked and stunned that you've basically tuned out half of the population. That can't come as a surprise to you at this point.
I read a quote that someone said that the Jimmy Kimmel firing was the death of free speech. And I thought, I think actually Charlie Kirk was a literal death of free speech.
No doubt.
So you some side killed Charlie Kirk, right? The left side, not some side. The left side killed Charlie Kirk. And now that the left side is losing Jimmy Kimmel, they're saying that's the death of free speech. It's like, wait, someone on the left, I want to be very careful. Not everybody on the left is a killer nutcase, obviously.
Can I help you? Can I help you with that? Because I think I know where you're going. Yeah. If there's a crowd in a section that feels this strongly about him, then you know what should happen? Jimmy Kimmel should go the path of Megyn Kelly, of Bill Maher.
Sure.
Go out there and start your own thing. You'll make your money, and you'll be, or maybe not. I don't know. But that's the way that you combat this. No one's saying you can't have a job.
Sure.
It's just that the person who employed you either got pushback from advertisers or saw your ratings and the diminishing returns upon your contract and said, this isn't worth it anymore.
Or somebody said, Jimmy, when you say the killer of Charlie Kirk was obviously a right-wing lunatic, it's obvious that he did it. He's one of theirs. You're like, wait, what possible evidence do you have that he was a right-wing lunatic when the vast majority of evidence at that point in time when Jimmy said that made it pretty clear this person was on the left, even just using the term, hey, fascist, catch on one of the bullets. Right. That's kind of a left thing. You don't get a lot of right side people on the right using the word fascism, right?
Right.
And that is so maybe just somebody up and down the ladder said, you know what, that's bullshit. We're not going to have somebody totally and completely lie about this, because I think it is. I mean, I think right now, if you went and asked a bunch of people on the left, right? I'm not right or left, I'm in the middle, but a bunch of people on the left, and you said, who killed Charlie Kirk? Was he right or left? 50% of the population would say, oh, it was the right that did it. It was the right that did it. And I think that is really, really perplexing. That is perplexing. And people like Jimmy Kimmel saying that it was someone on the right, it's someone on the MAGA team that did it. That's just not real. That's not true.
No, it's not. And again, it's frustrating because it's always felt like there's always been two sets of rules. You know what I mean? And that's what's been frustrating for someone like me. Let me just read you one more thing, because this person summed it up a lot better than I was trying to yesterday during Garage Logic. And I agree with most of it. So let me explain. No one banned Jimmy Kimmel from every major social media app, but that did happen to President Trump. No one conspired to put Jimmy Kimmel in jail, but that happened to President Trump. No one fired a bullet at Jimmy Kimmel, but that happened to Trump and Charlie Kirk. And what happened to Kimmel is that his corporate employer decided he was no longer a profitable figurehead for its product distributed over the public airwaves. That's it.
That's it.
And that's your answer. There is no conspiracy. No one's trying to silence him, but that's how polarizing everything in this country has become. And I mean everything in this country has become.
What I don't get is he used to be funny. Right? He used to be a comedian. And when you talk about Charlie Kirk and you say it was obviously the mega side team that did this, he's not writing a joke or making a joke there. He's just editorializing.
Well,
right?
that and he's got a team of writers that are putting all this stuff together.
But
and you still have to greenlight all of this stuff.
One thing that I think is interesting, do you ever listen to Russell Brand? Do you remember who Russell Brand is?
Yeah.
Right? He's a British former sex addict, drug addict. Now he's found Christ. I listened to his podcast. He talks about...
He was married to Katy Perry.
He was married to Katy Perry while he was a sex addict. And they're trying to get him, someone's trying to get him with, and may or may not be true, with all of these rape charges, rape allegations, right? He still has to go to court for those. He lives down in Florida now. He's got to go to those. And he does say, which I find it interesting, he's like, I was in a candy store with free candy. I didn't need to rape to get more candy, right? He was a sex addict, just in a very powerful person who just could have sex with anybody anytime he wanted, right? But he said one thing that I thought was interesting. When he was talking about Charlie Kirk's death and all of the people that would write something horrible on their social media, right? And he says, who am I to say something about someone having a stupid moment on social media? Because on September 12th of 2001, he went to work at MTV dressed as who? Do you remember this?
I don't.
He went to work on MTV September 12th, 2001, dressed as Osama bin Laden.
You're kidding me.
No.
I never heard this.
Yeah, and he said, that's what my brain did. I said, he lived in New York. It was just the most horrific attack on America in our history. And, well, arguably the most horrific attack, right? I was thinking maybe Pearl Harbor. That was horrific. But he went
up there
to work dressed as Osama bin Laden.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and he says it like, I didn't think of consequences. I wasn't thinking it. And I thought, Russell, if you can admit how stupid you were and have some grace to people who said some stupid things about Charlie Kirk, I think that's pretty amazing of him. I don't know. I mean, wow. Yeah, that's a weird story. Could you imagine dressing as Osama bin Laden the day after 9/11?
The only, not that I want to make it a comparison, but I do have a good friend who, because that was a Tuesday morning, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. And I had a good friend that was watching Monday Night Football and was so disgusted because he needed a certain player to score a certain amount of points, and that didn't happen. So he shut the TV off. It was Ed McCaffrey, a former wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, got hurt, and that was his only chance. He shut the TV off. He was so mad, and he went to his big-time corporate job here in the state of Minnesota the next morning, and everyone said, oh, my goodness, these are all guys he did fantasy football with. Yes. And he said, have you heard that? Have you seen the horrific news? He's like, I know, Ed McCaffrey got hurt.
Oh, you're like, kidding me.
No, you moron. No. A plane flew into the World Trade Center.
No.
And that's when he said, that's about us. And he's a very sharp guy.
Sure.
Really, really, but he had no idea.
That was the most disconnected he's ever been.
Yeah. And he just said, boy, I felt about this big.
Yeah. Worried about Ed McCaffrey.
Worried about Ed McCaffrey's leg injury. Anyway, let's talk about our friends at We Are Nuts and wearenutsmn.com. A great sale going on right now through the end of the month of September. We Are Nuts is on sale, 25% off at all Kowalski's markets and also Lunds and Byerly's. They've got those sweet new end caps that you can see displayed right there in their stores. Very similar to the ones that we have at Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden stores and also Max Hardware stores as well. They're very cool, and through the end of the month, you're going to get 25% off for the We Are Nuts and We Are Nuts snacks that are available online as well, wearenutsmn.com. They're great handmade snacks made by a wonderful family. It's the Burt family, great people, and you know what? You're going to get addicted, just like all of us have. The maple bourbon toffee almonds. My kids are absolutely addicted to the cinnamon toffee peanuts. They're such great snacks.
You are going to get addicted. That's why the Burt family gave us samples. So we get to because we give the first one for free.
Hey, here you go, buddy.
Right? Just try it. No, it's good for you, man.
Oh, it's great. And like I said, it's a great family-owned operation right here in the great state of Minnesota. So please visit wearenutsmn.com, the weekly scramble. We will be right back. All right. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about Russell Brand, and it made me think about just how, and I'll start it this way. Obviously, social media has played such a giant role with that, with Jimmy Kimmel and everyone being outraged and up in arms. It got me thinking the other day about are we ever going to get to a place where anything doesn't just instantly become, I've got to be outraged by this. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I think inherently when we were younger, this is obviously this isn't get off my lawn territory, but this has more to do with, okay, I might have been, when I was 22 and full of piss and vinegar, and I was just going to be angry about something. Well, that's because Randy Moss dropped the touchdown pass, and I'm just yelling at the three of my buddies that are sitting on the couch with me.
The Packers did something,
right? But I would have fired off a tweet then, or you know what I mean. I'm just saying. It's the inside voices that are now becoming outside voices, and I think that's what the main problem is here. And this is a societal issue, I'm not just attacking one particular section of it. So
this is a weird question. When I go to Jimmy Kimmel Live or to go watch Stephen Colbert, right?
Yep.
And Stephen Colbert, I sit down as the audience, right? Because I'm live in the audience, and he says something about the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel that's a blatant assault on the freedom of speech, right?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, it sounds like 800 people are clapping.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that... There's no one there that says, boo,
well,
boo, that's bullshit, but that's not true.
But if you're going to make the effort to go to a show like that, you obviously are a fan of the show, correct?
But I was a fan of those guys. I like Stephen Colbert. I like Jimmy Kimmel.
But I think here's what's happening, because you mentioned this, that when Kimmel used to be a comedian. That's the other aspect of this that I find purely laughable.
He was on The Man Show.
The Man Show, which, by the way, I loved it.
Yes.
This is...
Girls on Trampolines.
This is 23-year-old Chris Reavers watching The Man Show with Kimmel and Carolla, and it was misogynist. It was everything that everyone would be mortified about in 2025. And these guys were doing it and successfully doing it, right? It was one of Comedy Central's biggest hit TV shows. And that's what I find so laughable is that, and I'm not saying someone isn't entitled to reinvent themselves. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just that this guy's a fraud. That's the part I'm pointing out.
Yeah,
the fact that you built a career and a legacy doing one thing, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, now I'm just going to be a holier than thou lefty that's going to point at all the bad people, Orange Man, bad. And they're all playing a character.
Let me play the opposite side of that.
They're all
Adam
playing a
Carolla
character.
became, very conservative. Well, he wasn't very conservative when he was running The Man Show. Right? So now who's more of a fraud? One thing that bugs me is they say, look at all the things Jimmy Kimmel said. And one time he dressed up like Karl Malone for a skit. He should have been fired then. Why? That's comedy. That was funny.
Right.
Karl Malone probably thought that was funny. Who cares? You should be able to dress up like Karl Malone if you want to and do a skit. That doesn't make you a ravenous racist.
And that's why I guess when certain people talk about banning free speech, no one's banning free speech by firing Jimmy Kimmel. That's just a show.
Unless it was an edict from Donald Trump to go through the FCC and chase down these ABC affiliates and said, get him off the air because we want all these assholes to be gone.
But do you think that happened?
I don't know.
I don't think
I
it
really
did.
don't know. What does Joe think? Does Joe think that could be a possibility?
Joe is terrified that is what happened. He didn't say that it's...
I'd be more inclined to believe that than the simple fact... I'm more inclined to believe that they felt pressure from the Trump administration because Trump himself is saying,
yeah, he did.
One more down, right? We have another one to go. If Trump enunciated clearly and said, these guys are horrible at their job, their audiences are just going away. They're going away. They probably won't be on the air for long, but let's let America decide. But he doesn't. He gets in and dunks on top of it when he sends the FCC leader out there, right? What's his name? Brendan Carr from the chairman of the FCC to get out there and criticize this. Why are you talking about that? What Jimmy Kimmel said may have been a problem with the FCC. You can't lie about something like that, right? And Jimmy Kimmel knew that was a lie, but they probably wouldn't do anything about it, right? They surely wouldn't get him kicked off of his own show.
Well, and it doesn't matter. I'm trying to find the name. whether is it Les Moonves, CBS,
Yep.
or whoever the current chair is of ABC, those are still the people that can stand up to the FCC saying, hey, we're a private entity. We're not a publicly traded, you know what I mean? We have the right to make the decision for our network on our own.
Yeah, but they don't, right? They don't. If Donald Trump's saying, we're coming after you, so you're going to have to be fighting the FCC because they have to live under the FCC rules. There is an argument there. Let's think about that. Why is there an FCC anymore? This is all digital. This is sent to everybody digitally.
Right.
Why are we maintaining control as the federal government? I'm going to tell you, listen to the people who are listening to this show and watching us on YouTube right now. We don't want this to go too damn far. We better not have soldiers in our cities. We better not have the government running the FCC. We better not have tight scrutiny on social media. We better not have this because it can be used. Whatever we do can be used right against the other side.
But this is
it will flip again.
But this is the very reason why the likes of Elon Musk acquired Twitter in the first place, because speech was being compromised.
It absolutely
Mark
was.
Zuckerberg stood in front of Congress and admitted, yes, we were falsifying algorithms for the sake of public opinion during the election process. He admitted that.
And the only way to get past that is to allow all free speech. All free speech. When did the term hate speech come in?
I have no idea.
Like, why, if I say I hate the Packers, which I actually don't, but let's say I hate the Packers.
Okay, I'll say it. I hate the Packers.
You hate the Packers. I mean,
I also hate the Yankees. I hate the Lakers.
That's not hate speech per se, right? But you can say that. I don't want to say something, just make a fake quote about hate speech. I don't want to do that, right? But you can hate things. That's okay in this country. So when did hate speech, like let's say you hated something, you can say that about that. That is totally allowed in this country. You're not free from ramifications of saying that,
of course
right?
Not, yeah.
But you can say it. So when did the term hate speech and how we need to make sure hate speech is not on social media? It's like, that's not what social media is there to stop.
That's essentially what those that were celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk were saying, that his words were hateful, when it's so easy to say that when it's a message or it's a person that you don't agree with. And that's the part that gets lost on so many people, is just because somebody says something that you disagree with, that doesn't make it hate speech. That doesn't make it right that person needs to be censored. It means that you need to either ignore it. And that's the part I didn't understand. Here's how I spoke out against Jimmy Kimmel. I didn't watch his show.
Sure.
I used to
easiest thing.
I used to like Colbert when he was on the Daily Show. And I watched a couple episodes of CBS and I went, well, this is just garbage. I don't want to sit here and listen to this.
I don't know if you've heard this story, but sophisticated algorithms, AI-powered, are being used on Twitter to combat anti-Semitic hate speech. Right? It's like, okay, I get that, right? I don't like anti-Semites. I like Jewish people.
You're on that record?
I'm going to go out on the limb and say, hey, I'm for Jewish people and against anti-Semitism. But do I want an AI algorithm to fight only anti-Semitic hate speech? Why is it fighting anti-black hate speech, anti-gay hate speech? Is the algorithm doing all of those things equally, or should it fight all hate speech, or should it fight none? Should we allow the anti-Semitic moron who wants to post something on X to go ahead and post it? Then you, me, and the rest of the world can say, I don't like that. Downgrade this person, unfollow them, and I'd rather hear people's opinions. So I can say, now I can judge that person based on their opinion. I can either like it or dislike it. But you think Minnesota's at a crossroads and things are going downhill and life's going to get crappy. I get that. I'm feeling that the United States is at a crossroads with government reach.
Oh yeah.
Because it just does not feel good for Republicans to gloat about Jimmy Kimmel getting kicked off the TV. You don't gloat about it. If that was your plan and it worked magically, you shut up.
You just be quiet.
You just shut up and let it happen. And you just say something like, I don't think he was very successful. We wish him the best of luck in his next endeavor. Right? I just don't get it. Why are you trying to dunk on him? And it might be that, you know what I'm forgetting? Is that for 6 years, they tried to kill Trump. They tried to put him in jail. They made fun of him every single second of the day. And at some point, as a man, and you become president again, you might say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and level off that playing field again. Because I just got kicked in the nuts for 6 solid straight years. Oh, and by the way, almost shot dead in the head.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and you wonder too, because that's the interesting thing about this. I didn't want to say funny, but that's the interesting thing about this is, what if that had happened? I mean, what if? I mean, we saw it happened in Utah with Charlie Kirk. What if that had happened? With the now sitting president on the campaign trail.
What's weird is, do you think when Donald Trump, if he would have been murdered, assassinated, do you think we would have burned down every police station across America?
I have a feeling that we would have seen. I think we would have seen some really ugly scenes. Yeah. Yes, I do.
Do you? Okay. I do think so. Let me ask you this. Let me take it back to Charlie Kirk. Why, after Charlie Kirk was killed, wasn't there rioting in the streets?
Right.
Why did we not burn down? Why was there prayer? I get if President Trump would have been killed, that would not have been good.
Here's why it wouldn't have been good, because, I mean, the entire labeling or the entire stigma of being a quote-unquote conspiracy theorist would have thrown out the window.
Yeah.
Because everything now is just subject for investigation.
Yep.
I mean, you couldn't trust anything anymore at that point. I mean, we still don't know anything about the guy that attempted to kill him.
Sure.
He was wiped off the face of the earth completely.
Okay, listeners to this show, I have a confession to make. I'm going to say it. You ready? I don't think the moon landing happened.
Oh, God. What are you doing to me?
Honest to God, I had a calculator
hold on.
in 1989.
Why?
Because I just don't believe we could physically do it. We can barely do it today. How could we barely do it today? But back in 1969, they had basic computing power. Basic. I haven't looked into this dramatically, but I am maybe of the opinion that maybe that didn't happen. If you can believe that Epstein and a cabal of Jewish attorneys run the world, if you can believe that, I'm not saying you,
right?
I'm saying in general. If people can believe that, then you couldn't believe that a country that needed to come together had a president say, hey, by the way, I love Hollywood, because he knows everybody in Hollywood. Let's just go ahead and make this happen. And I get that that's far-fetched. I get that that seems illogical. But they had no computing power, Reverse. They could not do that.
I had no
My
idea
calculator in 1989 was more powerful than their computers back in 1969. We can barely get back there today. The hell is going on? I don't know. Does Kenny believe?
No, Kenny always wants to get John going about JFK.
JFK.
That's
okay,
his conspiracy.
So I'm not saying. Let me make this perfectly clear. I'm willing to be proved wrong, right? And for every moment until my life till right now, I'm like, you know what? That might be a conspiracy theory that I just might believe.
You know, when I type that into the Google and get the AI overview, it also suggests, do you need help with medication?
Does it?
When I said, did the moon landing happen? Question mark.
And the first,
I'm kidding.
Dude, should you be strapped into a? We'll have to have a moon landing denier on this show.
Oh my! It's almost as if you were reading my mind.
Okay.
Because as you continue to go down this thread, what the damn you, Michael? There's this website called what is it called? rmg.co.uk. Moon landing conspiracy theories and those that are debunked. So that means that means there's obviously more than one. There are several.
Oh, of course there are.
Oh,
of course there are. I mean, I get it. It just seems fantastical that in 1969 we could do that when just a very short time earlier we could do nothing.
All right.
Okay.
The question was asked.
Yeah.
So if it really happened, why don't they land on the moon anymore? Question mark.
Great question. Why?
No one has returned. This is an AI overview.
Okay. Yep.
No one has returned to the moon because it is extraordinarily expensive. There is no urgent...
Hold on. Time out. Do you think we give a shit how expensive something is in America? If there was a reason to get up there, now for sure I know it's fake. Because if AI thinks, it was probably too expensive, America spends all the money we want to spend. If it was $1 trillion, we would have done it.
All right, let's I want to come back to this. Boy, I didn't know you were going to get this worked up.
This is a topic for another show.
Okay, let's talk about our friends at North American Banking Company before we lose them anyway. North American Banking Company has one simple philosophy, and that is this. It's banking done differently, and you get that feeling anytime that you walk into any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations, whether it's Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. They are fantastic. And if you're tired of just being a number to your big national bank, then I can't recommend these people highly enough. North American Banking Company first opened back in 1998, and they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you know your banker and they know you. And they do offer all of the same services as the other banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, perhaps finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been thinking about. My friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. And they are also locally owned and operated. And that means loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities. They are not sent out of state. So this helps you business owners solve problems quickly and expand your business with confidence. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. The Weekly Scramble. We will be right back.
Okay, so
all right.
I just read something. Third-party verification. Space agencies from nations, including China, India, Japan, and South Korea, have independently captured images of the Apollo landing site from their own orbiters. The Soviet Union, the primary rival of the U.S. in the space race, also tracked the Apollo mission in real time and never claimed they were faked, right? So maybe I'm going back onto the side that the moon landing happened. Why are we struggling to get back there, Reavers?
Here we go.
Yeah.
So the question was asked before the break, why don't they land on the moon anymore? And no one has returned to the moon. This is an AI overview, by the way. No one has returned to the moon because it's extraordinarily expensive. There is also no urgent strategic or economic incentive to do so. And then the necessary technology, and the necessary technology requires significant new development and testing.
Why?
Especially
we did it in 1969 with a Casio calculator. Why?
Especially after decades of shifting priorities and budget constraints. While robotic missions continue, human missions require immense resources. And the Apollo program was a unique Cold War endeavor, not a sustainable long-term goal.
Let's check how much the Apollo
I was going there. Here we go. By comparison, the high costs and shifting priorities. The Apollo program was incredibly expensive, costing billions in today's dollars and requiring a significant portion of the U.S. budget at that time. This level of investment is not sustainable, especially now that NASA's budget is a fraction of the national total, allocating across many other projects. The primary driver for the Apollo mission was the Cold War space race with the Soviet Union. Once the U.S. won this race, the public and political interest waned, and other domestic issues like the Vietnam War and poverty became higher priorities.
I don't think any of that's true.
Okay.
I mean, I believe the math. It says in today's dollars, it would be about $280 billion. How much have we sent to Ukraine?
Wait.
So
Say that again.
In today's dollars, the entire Apollo program back in 1960 was $25.8 billion. A lot of money. In today's dollars, that would work out to be roughly 10 times that, $280 million.
So
$280 billion.
Program back in the 60s was $25 billion?
That's what it says.
Well, there's your freaking answer.
$280 billion in today's money. Do you think, Reavers, people carry around $280 billion? That someone would go do that.
Really?
I think they would.
Okay.
The simple
then buy
fact
the
is,
twins so we can get rid of the Polads.
We don't have the technology to get back. I was listening to somebody from NASA, and they said, we don't have the technology readily available. It's like, well, then go back to 1969 and do it. Liars. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this anymore. I would hate to find that it was faked, but that if there's a conspiracy that I could maybe get on board, if there is one I could maybe get on board, that might be one of them.
You're
right?
Anti-moon landing?
No,
board?
I'm not anti-moon landing. I'll believe it if I get the right stuff, but I'm not going to believe that.
I see what you're doing.
What?
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Am I hooking you?
No, I see what you're doing.
Well, okay.
You are pining to be the next person on a space flight to the moon. I see what you're doing.
If everything I had, I would want to be the last guy to do it.
Really?
First of all, I really like Roseville, Minnesota. I feel really comfortable in Roseville, Minnesota. I don't live there, but I drive through Roseville. It feels like my home. the moon's not my home, right? But name another spot. Okay, hey, let me give you a really great example.
What if?
Okay, yeah.
Remember the famous flight to space we had just a few weeks ago, and it was, the likes of Katy Perry.
Oh, yeah.
Would you get on that rocket?
No,
Oh,
that
okay.
would have been the worst one. Let me give you a really great analogy here. Highest mountain in the world is what?
Everest?
Mount Everest, right? Someone went up there once. So we've been to Mount Everest, right? There's no financial positive by doing it. You risk everything by going to do it, but people still go and do it. So you're telling me that we went to the moon and then we just said, been there, done that, and no one else said, well, let's go back. Let's go again. Let's
Like
go
it's a
do this
favorite
again.
restaurant.
Yeah, you don't just stop going to someplace. You don't go to the highest spot in the world and say, oh, one guy did it, let's not do it again. And America, the state of Minnesota almost wastes enough money to get us back to the moon.
That's true. You know what?
Right?
I know how we raise the money then.
Oh my
We
God.
just tell the government we're feeding a bunch of kids. They're going to send us a bunch of money. And then, lo and behold, we'll be going to the moon every
That's
other
not
week.
a bad idea.
It'd
Set
be-
up some food frauds.
We could end up, it could almost be like we're going to carpool now. We're just going to carpool to the moon.
I am going to, because I think this is an interesting topic. I'm going to find somebody who can, maybe two people. Maybe we'll host a small debate.
Okay.
We'll have a debunker and a bunker. Is that right?
Sure.
Yeah, because you
Sounds good.
If you can be debunked, you'd be bunked. Reavers, all I know is I do have a question that is kind of important. Right?
Okay.
If people in the U.S. smile, then do Europeans scalometer? That's my new vapor joke. Get it? Smile.
I do. Because it's a measurement deal.
That is if all dad jokes I've told on this show, that is by far my favorite
That's
so
not
far.
bad at all. Thank you, Michael.
I'm scalomering over here.
Yes, you are.
Reavers, you are the best.
Please do us a favor, rate and review the show if you'd like. It helps other people find the show. It also does truly help us out as well. And we do appreciate each and every single one of you. His name is Mike Fratelloni. My name is Chris Reavers. Thank you so very much for listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. We'll talk to you again next time. Until then, cheers.